Oh, I like your background, Dave.
All right, everyone, we are now live. So I'm going to call the Village Council meeting of April 13th, 2021 to order. Beth.
Allworder.
Here.
Frankel.
Here.
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Mary.
Oh, you got to unmute. Here. Are you there?
Turn it up a little bit, I think.
Sog.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Welsh.
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Everybody's here.
Great. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda are minutes from the council meeting of March 9th, 2021.
I have one little correction. At the bottom of page 2, the second line from the bottom.
Which page?
It's page 2, the very bottom, second line from the bottom, the last word should be an and not and.
Correct. I spotted that, but just thought it was
Well,
On an issue. Okay. Got it.
I've got one too, further up on that page, the first paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th line down, it starts with looks. For packages left at the front,
oh,
I don't know what the front
Of the
not
home.
door, but at the front of the homes.
instead of
Yeah.
Good catch.
Anything else? Have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Welsh, seconded by Frankel.
Yes.
Allworder.
Yes.
Frankel.
Yes.
Reynolds.
yes.
Sog.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Welsh.
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay. Next is pay ordinance 1248 for $333,829.52. Who's barking?
It's oral. I'm gonna have to let him out.
Well, just mute yourself until you vote.
How do you
Or
mute?
let him out.
Let's say hello, Oral. There we go. There's Oral.
Okay, so we need a motion. Any questions?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Welsh, seconded by Sandra. Allworder.
Yes.
Frankel.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Sog.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Welsh.
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is financial statement and treasurer's report. Tim?
Okay, thank you. Revenues for the month total $371,000, and expenses for the month total $323,500. Before transfers to other funds of $530,000. All departments are operating at or below budget. The general fund produced a small surplus, as I said, of 48,000. Our all fund balance currently stands at 8,863,803. Included in that number is our Ancora account, which now stands at $6,824,157, including accrued interest. As noted during the February meeting, we transferred 2 million of our cash balances to the Ancora account to maintain a more normal operating cash balance in our checking accounts. U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Oversight estimates that the village will receive $434,700 with the passage of the American Rescue Plan Act. This estimate will be refined by the U.S. Department of Treasury. When received, our allocation will also be added to the Ancora account. As discussed previously, the village now stands with an abundance of reserves. largely because of unexpected municipal tax payments in 2020 and 2021. Without any evidence either way, our long-range financial projection assumes that these payments were one-time events and will not continue. The projection therefore produces annual deficits starting in 2023, resulting from normal revenue projections and structural operating and capital expenditures. The amount of the deficit in any given year is largely dependent on the amount of capital expenditures on roads, bridges, culverts, and vehicle purchases during that year. We are well above our reserve target of 1 year's operating expenses. The receipt of the ARP allocation further pushes out a return to our reserve target to now sometime beyond 2025.
Good. That's good.
The final version of the long-range financial plan projection has been completed and has been sent to council members. I would request that it also be posted on the village website, replacing an older draft. It's expected that the projection will be reviewed and revised as necessary on an annual basis going forward. That's my report. I'm happy to take any questions or hear any comments.
Tim, it's Larry. I had a question on the funds that will be coming from the Treasury. Has the federal government specified the use of those funds, or can they be used for any purpose? Do you know?
I don't know. Janet, are you familiar with any terms or conditions on that?
Yes, there are. I think there's more information still to come, but right now, the main ones are to respond to the pandemic or its negative economic impacts, including assistance to households, small businesses, nonprofits, or aid to impacted industries, premium pay to eligible workers performing essential work, for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue due to the pandemic, and to make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. Right now, that's all we've been told.
Does that mean we could possibly use this to help Sarah's to open the coffee shop?
We would probably have to talk about that with Todd. I'm not sure how that works with them being someone that pays rent to the village.
But they are.
They're a small business.
It's a possibility. We'll have to discuss it, but I know that they're still working on the details of all that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a final approval of the money. Anyway.
Something to.
No, it's not. The Treasury, the U.S. Treasury will be the final arbiter of who gets what. This is just the House of Representatives Committee that's
Okay.
estimating it.
It would be great if we could improve the broadband service in the village.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that
I
would,
guess we'll have to wait and see what we can use it for.
Well, we could use it for more than one thing, I assume.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I would think we'll figure it out.
a good problem to have.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a question about on the second page, the income tax expense. And I think I know the answer, but let me just check that the 2021 budget is 128,000. And then when you go over to expenses to date, it's 75,977. I'm imagining that's because of the large income tax deposit.
Exactly, right. Yeah, we
For
pay
Rita,
a
you're saying,
percentage,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it should catch up to the 128, or it could go beyond that by the end of the year. What do you think?
The income tax expense.
Well, we budgeted 128,000 for the year, but it's already up to 75,000, almost 76,000.
Right, that's
So-
because we received that large payment earlier
Right.
in the year.
Right.
And, we pay a percentage of receipts to Rita. And so, yes, I would say that it will
You
it will go back to sort of a normal payment.
okay,
But
okay.
it'll probably go up before the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it will. I mean, we'll continue to pay a percentage as receipts come in.
Right.
But we won't get any more, I assume that we won't be getting any more $2 million receipts.
Yeah.
I think Sandra's question is, did we anticipate the large payment in our budget and budget for the 128, assuming that percentage would be paid on that amount plus the normal amount we
Yeah,
get?
yeah. So is this going to cost us more money?
We're going to go above the 128 when we get back to normal.
Janet, do you want to comment on that?
I included the large payment.
That's what I
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. That's good.
got one in the fall.
Thank you, Nancy.
But it'll have to be recalculated at the end of the year again for the new budget. So,
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
And just for clarification, Janet, I assume when we get a payment from Rita, they have already pulled out their fee, so to speak. So we get a net amount, and that's what you book that expense.
I book
under
the
this line.
gross and I book the expense.
Exactly. So it's this
Okay.
percentage each month that when we get an income tax
Right.
payment from Rita.
right.
Right.
Any other questions with that? Okay. Thank you, Tim. We'll move Mayor's report. I want to say that the Easter egg drive-through went exceedingly well. Thank you to Jean, Janet, Dorothy, Ben, and Mike, for sure. They made 175 bags and 165 bags were picked up. That's
Oh my
real
God.
good attendance.
Wow.
That's fabulous.
They did a terrific job. The Easter Bunny, Janet, quite cute. Anyway, they did a real good job and it was very well received. Garden Club on May 30th, Friday, April 30th at 1 p.m. is having a little dedication for a tree plaque. They planted a tree in memory of Connie White last year at Arbor Day. And so it's going to be, they have the plaque now, and they're going to meet at Marston Park in the pavilion, 1 o'clock Friday, April 30th. So anybody that wants to come, it should be a nice little affair. The next thing, we were going to have Nick from Sugar Valley Dispatch, but they're just, and it was, we've been working on finances, Nancy, Chip, Nick, we've had a meeting, and our chief, and they've now put together, we had our half-year quarterly meeting this past week, and they are forming the committee for looking at expenses and diving into all the expenses with Chagrin Valley Dispatch. John Finley, who is Chagrin Falls Township head person, our Chip is already going to be on that. We did it right away, Greg and I, and Chip is going to be on the committee. And if they don't get enough people, then Nancy will be an alternate if they need another person. But at the moment, they're taking one from each community. Announced that St. Francis is having, and I'll send this to you by email, they're having a pickup dinner on Sunday, April 25th from 1 to 6 to support their graduation for their 8th grade activities. It's kind of a nice little thing. So I just got this today and I'll announce it tonight and we'll send it out so that maybe residents, whatever, can support it. I also want to announce that in February, Tom Robinson brought to my attention, a very good idea, and it's something I think that's needed overall. It is, I'm going to ask everybody, all our employees and council, to take a class. It's the 2-hour class. Am I correct, Tom?
Yes, you are. It's just 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour class. It's online, so you could do it, when it works out for you. It's how to eliminate social media speech mistakes that destroy the public trust. And so I thought it was a real good idea. We're coming into, because of the pandemic especially, with all the Zoom things that are going on and Facebook and everything else, I think it will be a benefit to everybody that we do this. Our fire department has a Facebook page. Our police department, it came up last night, they want to get into a Facebook page, but I think it will help everybody do it in a good way. So you will be asking for the email or Tom will be emailing you the name of the company and contact information. Do you want to say anything else about this, Tom? It was Tom's idea, and I think it was an excellent one.
Well, it's something that I've wanted to tackle for a while, and it keeps getting pushed on the back burner. So I grabbed it and pulled it toward the front. This is going to give us training for all employees to keep them safe from liability issues, and it's also going to protect the village. So we do have to comply with federal social media training standards, and this will do that for us. And it'll also, the attorney that's providing this training will also provide a policy, a social media policy for the entire village, as far as all the employees, the elected officials, and it would be very defendable in court also, because that's what this attorney does for a living. So I will be sending out basically an email asking you what email address you would like me to provide to get you registered for this course. But tonight I had a little problem with Chip's because I've got a couple email addresses for Chip, and I think I sent the invite to the wrong one. So I need to get rid of some of the extra ones I have for Chip and just go down to the one he likes best.
Okay.
A lot of
Very
Changes
good.
by the day.
Okay.
Changes by the day,
that-
Tom. I only have one I like the best. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, so that is all I have. Now, I know we've got some reports. Or no, clerk's reports next. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun here.
Just one question. In the pink sheet, they talked about the upcoming 4th of July parade, and they said it was at 1 o'clock. I assume that because it's a Sunday and it won't be 11.
That is correct, and we're having we're talking about it again the beginning of May. We still don't know if it's going to be the way it was last year or if it's going to be the real normal parade.
Oh, okay.
It'll be
All right.
something, but we just don't know which one
Don't
at
know
the
what
moment.
yet. Understood. Okay, that's all.
But
I
it is
had
going to be at 1 o'clock, whatever it is.
Got it. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions? Beth, do you
No.
have a report? No report?
No, I do not.
Okay, committee reports.
Okay, I had two. One is from the Gates Mills Land Conservancy. It's a request. The Sherman Road Preserve is getting a spring cleaning on one of its acres. We're starting on a program to manage the invasive species that are crowding out the tree saplings that were planted by the Clean Ohio Grant with Chagrin River Watershed Partners help in 2017. So on Tuesday, April 27th, we're looking for volunteers. We have two shifts, 9 to 11 in the morning or 2 to 4 in the afternoon. From noon till about 2, the students from the Environmental Center are gonna be there. So let me know if you are available to help. We're asking you to bring your own, loppers, cutters, pruners to cut the invasives, and we'll have a licensed pesticide applicator there. There is poison ivy, so dress appropriately. Okay. Thank you. And from the community club, this reflective fluorescent safety vests are getting printed with a logo that recognizes our pride in the village. And on Saturday, the 24th of April, we'll be, selling those at the community house. So we hope that you'll drop by and try one on and purchase one or more for your family.
And the time is 9 to 1 that day?
9 to 1. We're gonna capitalize on the shredding day.
So you can come and shred and come and buy a vest.
That's right.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, Sandra, can you repeat that date? I think that'd be a wonderful thing. We could get that out that people can buy those reflective vests. What is the date?
Saturday, April 24th,
Okay.
from 9 until 1.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, and there was an article in the Pink Sheet. We did
Yeah.
get 6 orders so far, which is good. And then we'll have them available on an ongoing basis. We're also going to recognize the Mayfield high school student who produced the logo. We had a little competition at school, and it was a lot of fun. And we'll do a little article about her and the Excel Tech graphic arts department who helped us out.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Anything, Ann?
I would like to report on, it's not really a committee, but thanks to Larry's good work, Larry and I met with some representatives from AT&T just to pursue a little fiber optic or better internet for the village. And we're just kind of exploring if it's something that might be able to get accomplished. For me personally, I think the term shovel ready is still in the top of my brain. And if there will be federal funds, I think the more work we do now, it would behoove us in the future in case we can improve the internet. So we've spoken with AT&T and I've spoken with some third-party providers. And as a result, it's kind of the chicken and the egg. The providers say, well, how many people will sign up? And I say, well, how expensive would it be? So because of that, I'd like to send out a survey to our residents, basically saying, with a postcard to go back, saying, are you satisfied with the speed and reliability of your internet service? And if fiber optic were available, although at an additional cost, would you be interested in subscribing to that service? So I think it'll help us no matter what, maybe not immediately, but maybe in the future, just to get a feel for what people are thinking, and more people are working from home. So we'll see if people would be interested.
I have a question, Anne. I'm sorry, Mary. I just have a question. If you do this, I'm assuming there'll be a net cost because people will leave their current provider. Everyone has a provider, whether it's Spectrum or I think many people have Spectrum and some have ATT, some have other, but they would leave their current provider. So that would save that amount of money. The question is how much additional, I think it's a complicated question. Not just as simple as what it would cost.
Right, and the structure of financing is obviously something to be tackled much later, but maybe the additional cost would be to bring the fiber to your house. Maybe the homeowner would be responsible. Maybe, we could do some sort of financing to get fiber down the streets, and then maybe you would need to bring it to your home. That could be an additional expense, not just a monthly.
And will you be able to help us understand what the benefit will be if we, independent of the expense, since I'm already getting internet?
Fiber is in general quicker, and it is more reliable. I understand that any of the wires or things we have now, if there's any kind of a storm, they can fry. Fiber, glass does not fry. So as far
Also,
as
it's also buried. Typically, it's not often in the on the phone lines. The other, which is very important. So it's faster, it's more reliable, but it is also introducing competition into our market. And so the benefits of that are that we are largely Spectrum or Dish Network, and Dish Network is terrible for internet. Having fiber in there then puts pressure on Spectrum to improve improve their service in general. So I think it's a very healthy thing if the numbers work out.
Yeah, it's got to be terribly expensive to run fiber for the number of residents here.
You might get people, I guess it's going to be how you word it. Would they be interested in fiber optic? The question's, how much more is it going to be than what they have now? I mean,
I think you're not going to get good information unless you have a lot of detail.
Right.
Yeah, you may need some more detail there as I think about it.
People are going to say, sure, we want better internet. They're going to say, yes, we want it, but we're not going to pay $1,000 for it or something like that,
So fiber optics already is in the village. So the library and the village hall have fiber optics, from what I understand. So there is some availability already.
It's a great idea. Nobody's saying it's a bad idea. It just sounds like a very expensive project.
I keep going back to in Wyoming, in Star Valley, the governor of Wyoming was on top of it and used CARES funding. And all, last summer, huge spools of orange. They brought fiber and it's considerably more rural than we are. They pulled it off.
I hope they got a lot of money. 400,000 doesn't sound like it would cover it.
No, no.
That's why I'm saying that's a lot of money.
Larry, do you know how the library and village hall got fiber optics, like where it came from? Just meaning that maybe there's a main line through the village already?
Dave maybe would know that.
Maybe Chris or Janet.
Yes.
Know that.
Yeah, the main line runs down River Road. It's not buried, it is above ground. And then that was part of when we did the library, that was part of the deal that we provided that to the building. And then really it was about a year ago, we upgraded the town hall to fiber optic.
And I believe it also runs down Som Center Road. I was trying to get Chris to, maybe you've heard some of this, Chris, Courtney. I wanted to find out where fiber optic is and who is in charge of it or who got the permit to put it in the right of way and whatnot. Did you come up with anything on that, Chris?
No, it's a tough request. We've tried going through OOPS and through AT&T, and they're hesitant to release that system-wide information for privacy concerns and some security concerns. So maybe if it comes from one of the police or fire chiefs, we might have some better luck with it. But I'm continuing to pursue it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Gilmore, thinking about the size of that complex, it hasn't tied into. You were mentioning, Cedar Boulevard and some. I would have to think that Gilmore might be part of that system already.
I also have a recollection that they were running that orange cable down Mayfield.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
It is above ground also around here. It is above ground also. And I learned that from the gentleman that came, who will be coming back from, I tried to call him today to announce when he'd be coming back, but I haven't heard.
I'd be surprised if those
First Energy,
where we have a school, where we have schools with Gilmore and the middle school and on Som and St. Francis on Mayfield and the hospital, I'd be surprised if those areas don't have it.
I have to think that's right, Chris.
And I believe that Mayfield Village has fiber as well.
Well, sure, because of Progressive, yeah.
So,
and you might ask AT&T if they could tell you some communities that are even remotely similar to Gates Mills that have gone forward and put fiber throughout their village, and then you could call those communities and maybe they give you some numbers.
I have spoken with the woman who runs for Hudson. Hudson did fiber, which Tim, you're more versed. They did fiber for businesses and are now expanding to residences. Hudson did their own. They were the third party. And I explained that I didn't think Gates Mills had the resources or the appetite for that approach. But I did speak with her, and same thing. It's hard to, it depends on how many people are going to sign. You know, it depends on the cost down the road.
Well, I would say, so I don't know whether we have the resources or not to do that, but it is a meaningful revenue stream for Hudson now. They made the
Mayfield Village has a partnership going as well over on Beta Drive, and I think Cuyahoga Falls has got a self-installation project going on as well, where they're or Akron. I know someplace right down around here has got it.
Well, so if there was interest in different sections, you could even, maybe do something they'd be interested by different roads, and it grows from there. In other words, where there's a lot of houses down Dorchester, and if it's on Sound Center, maybe they would run it down Dorchester if 50 of your postcards come back that there's interest.
Well, and Ian, let's say it's multi-million dollars, but maybe it makes sense that the village would do a bond, a 20-year bond, and then the residents get charged, $50 a month or whatever. That's $600 a year per resident over 20 years. Maybe that makes the bond very, very feasible. Yeah. I'm just throwing out some wild numbers, but I mean, this isn't just paying AT&T to come and drop a line down my driveway. I'm sure they can do that well. So I'm kind of intrigued that Hudson has done it themselves and is getting the revenue, but I don't know.
Yep. For them, it's my understanding that it was a very successful investment on the part of the Village of Hudson. And
Todd, could you speak to that?
Since I was the city solicitor for many years and still attorney for the city, it did not make money for a long time. It has turned the corner now. If you look at it overall, it's still in the red, but it's been quite successful in signing up businesses to high-speed internet, much higher speed than Spectrum. At that time, I know Spectrum is trying to catch up, and it's cheaper than Spectrum. And there's been an issue with rolling it out to residential. They would like to do that, and they've started to do that, but of course it's very difficult to get enough people interested, and who gets it first and who's at the end of the line is another issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talk about technology could change next year, and something else will come down the line, and then all of a sudden we've invested a lot of time and money in
The other thing about Hudson is they have their own electric department, so they've been running fiber for 20 years. So that made it feasible also, and they've trained all of their electric workers at the city to splice fiber and run it.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So maybe we start with the survey and see what happens.
I do think with
it's really worthwhile. Unless you have some idea of the cost, I don't think a survey makes sense, because I think that if it's millions and millions of dollars, you're just not going to find 2,500 people that want to invest that to get
900 residents, not
if they're
2,500
not doing
people.
it for business. I'm sorry?
900 residents, not 2,500 people. It's only 900 residents. You're not going to, 6 people live in my house. You're not having 6 people pay for the internet.
Well, that's even smaller.
I would envision, Nancy, that it would be a combined effort where the provider will take on some of the financial liability. It would not, I mean, I don't envision this as the village underwriting the entire process to get the fiber in. it would have to be some sort of a partnership. And the options are also, maybe Chesterland would like to make it more appealing, and that would lower our cost to, come through us. So,
Well, and at this point, the more people who say yes, the more interested the vendor is. So, this is not a survey intended exactly to get people ready to sign on the dotted line. It's really to show interest to the vendor. So, I understand what you're saying, Nancy, but at this point, the survey has a different purpose.
I'm not sure. I'm listening to Mary say, something else down the line. We're not really, I'm not sure that.
Well, you got to be very careful on a survey. If you simply ask, are you interested in better internet? Everybody in the world's going to say yes.
Yes, but they're not going to say yes if it's going to cost a lot of money.
Exactly. So you've got to have a
Problem is
financial picture as part of it.
We can't figure out how much it's going to cost until we have some idea of how many people are interested.
Yeah.
But if you only
And
have
certainly-
900 people, 950 residents, you could take the number that it would cost on our square miles, which is big, like we ran roads, and how much it costs to run fiber. And then, somebody's got to have those numbers.
Well, there are consultants out there that you can hire, and they're expensive. And that's what Hudson did. They hired a consultant out of Denver, Colorado, that other municipalities have used around the country to really do a feasibility analysis of this.
in the cover letter to a postcard, it would say this is not a commitment on your part. It's strictly trying to gather information to see if we should pursue exploring this. So I think for the cost of some postcards, it's worth it. And to Mary's point, yes, I'm always worried about new technology, but I gotta say, where I live down in the valley, Elon Musk's satellites aren't gonna help me. And whatever I know right now, because of our topography, I just feel like being hardwired in some way is the best from what we know right now for Gates Mills.
Would it help, Mary, to add, well, I don't know about help, but it'd be interesting to me to ask people how many megabits they get now? I don't know how that varies around the village, but I know we get 100, which is nothing.
Yeah.
It was 10, but
That's what you're trying to do with it. I mean,
just gonna-
watching movies and doing things that as a family, I just don't see, people are using the higher speed spectrum, I imagine, for personal home use. I think businesses are the ones that really need a lot more. And I don't know how many home offices we have.
I think we'll have more.
A lot.
Yeah.
We'll have a better idea after we have the survey come in.
Right.
Ask them that if they have a home. How many work from home?
Oh, that sounds great. That's good for tax purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Oh,
so,
honestly.
and think about it, maybe you want to add a question or two to it, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Anything else? Any other reports or anything? Okay, so let's move on. Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Everybody should have received a copy of my monthly report. I'll be happy to take any questions you have off of my report. I think the mayor wanted me to mention number one in my report there. I don't know the exact date, but probably within the past, was it 2 weeks, Mayor, maybe 3 weeks, we had an opportunity to meet with Zoom, of course, meet with ODOT officials, and they have agreed to improve the safety signage along River Road for us, from the Rogers line all the way to the Old Mill Bridge. And they're going to replace, there are some pictures that I could certainly email you if you were interested in looking at them, but stop bars, moving some of the stop signs close to the intersection there, River Road near the Old Mill Bridge would be an example of one. Quite a bit of bicycle safety signage, more fluorescent signage, newer signs that they have now. And they're going to be starting this probably in the next couple of weeks. They said about 6 weeks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And want to say we had the meeting about 3 weeks ago, so we can all look for that. But we think it's a good idea. Also, a couple more signs will be going up on Mayfield Road indicating the speed limit, 45. We think there's a little bit of room for improvement there, so they're going to be working on that for us. And you may have noticed that just yesterday, the signs started to go up for the Mayfield Road project, which is to begin on the 19th, which is next Monday, I believe. So they have the arrow boards up right now indicating that on the 19th, they'll start with the lane closures. I'm not sure if that's a hard date or not. I'm sure it's weather dependent, but they're out there now starting to set up, it looks like. So
it's going to go down to one lane in each direction. I think that's, people will want to find different routes.
Right. So, obviously we'll get it on our webpage and whatnot. We'll try to get that out to keep the residents informed on what's taking place.
I have a question. Are the signs going to say for bicycle riders that single file means you?
I
mean, one of the biggest issues I
Yeah.
have is the clump riding on River Road is so scary. There's no single file for people who don't ride alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we it was a pretty healthy meeting, actually. It was probably about 45 minutes. And I'll tell you, there's probably, I don't have the exact number with me, but I want to say overall, and Dave, maybe, I don't know, you could jump in here if I'm wrong, maybe about 15 signs in all, maybe somewhere about that number.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, 12 to 15. We do have some signs that do say bikes and single file or whatever, single line. Those are already up. Whether we need more, that would be something we would have to provide. That's not like a state standard. The signs the states are putting in, or the state's putting in, those are the standard.
These are going to be nice signs. I requested them to look at all of River Road and tell us what we could do, because we were requesting a speed limit change and all these things. And they were very nice and sent great pictures and backup for all their suggestions. They were a pleasure to work with, I must say.
Good.
Can you ticket a riders for not riding single file?
That's a great.
Well, I would say that that has come up before, and I've had some discussions with the prosecutor on that. So it's interesting because we do have an ordinance that says that. However, they have the right to take the entire bike lane up or the roadway. So if that was challenged at the muni court level, I'm not sure how that would go, to be very honest with you.
Maybe Todd could comment on that. My understanding is Greg is right. Although the signs are nice to ride single file, but I always thought the bike rider could take the entire lane if they wanted. Todd?
I don't know what the answer to that is. I'm a bike rider, but I think every community is different, although Ohio has a 3-foot area in its state statute. I know, a 3-foot wide area.
And then you basically can hardly pass on a double yellow line on River Road.
Yeah.
There's a bicycle. And they're
Yeah,
riding.
a bicycle is considered a vehicle. And, they have to obey the traffic laws.
They don't.
I know. It's interesting because fortunately we don't run into this much, but they actually have the right to take all of Gates Mills Boulevard up. They can ride right down the center line. Now that wouldn't be very smart on their behalf and be unsafe, but they do. It's considered one lane and they can ride right down the middle.
I think to Greg's point, we're looking at this as to whether we can find people who are violating an ordinance. But I have to say that most of the bike riders that we see in Gates Mills are pretty savvy about bicycle safety and about the kind of ordinances that local communities have put in place. So when they do choose to ride 3 abreast or whatever, they know the risks that they are taking. I don't know that they're necessarily worried about a $50 ticket or a $25 ticket, but they are definitely aware that they potentially are putting themselves at risk for injury. And just yesterday, we had a bike rider 3 blocks from us that was killed here.
What?
Yep. Not in Gates Mills, 3 blocks from where I am right now. But
Oh.
so I guess what I'm saying is, I think a little of this does fall on the bicycle rider, knowing that if he's going to be in violation of something we put in place just for safety, that it's kind of at their own risk. And so whether we, get ticket income from it or not, I think it's really more about them taking the risk that they are putting their own safety on the line. And I kind of think that falls on them.
It does.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just annoying to go along River
We all
Road.
agree with that.
Well, and I think to Mary's point, and I would agree with her, it is, River Road's very narrow, and that's, it's a nice scenic ride, and so I can understand, why people would want to ride on River Road. They have the right to take up a lane on 322. Just because you can probably doesn't mean you should,
Right.
but
My point.
we do see that from time to time. We do receive some calls periodically on that about a bicyclist riding down River Road. Well, we'll just monitor the situation, but quite honestly, we can't even really talk to him. He's not doing anything wrong, or she, whoever the bike rider would be. So,
That's where they get frustrated and act out on top of it.
Right, right.
So, Greg, since they are equal to a car, have you ever thought of putting a speed trap on Berkshire as they come down the hill? Because boy, they are going about 4. It's not actually funny. They are peeling down Berkshire to Epping, probably 35, 40 miles an hour. So.
Yeah, over the years, and I can remember one. It's been a couple of years now, but we did have one down there at what I would call like the triangle down there at Berkshire and Epping. I remember somebody riding down that at a high rate of speed and hit some gravel or whatever, if I remember correctly, but sent him to the hospital. So there's a lot of bike riders down here, obviously, and a lot of it is personal accountability and responsibility. So we try to educate them. We get the bike unit out there when we can, and you're more approachable when you're on the bicycle too. So we do find that to be helpful. So we plan on rolling that out again here soon.
Chief, I think we ought to give the officers a set of reflective safety vests, and you can sell them to these bicyclists. Make some money for the community club.
Okay.
Great idea.
But by the way, River Road's getting widened quite a bit in Hunting Valley this summer when they redo Chicken River Road. So it's going to put a little burden on Gates Mills because we'll be much narrower on River Road than they will be.
Okay, and I think real quickly, I'm just kind of moving along here. So last night we had a crime prevention seminar, obviously on Zoom, and we were assisted by the OCPA, which is the Ohio Crime Prevention Association. We had a representative from their organization. I think we had 37 people who joined in, and some of those were obviously the people joining in on the link, and I think the attendance was probably closer to 50 because, obviously some were doubled up. So a lot of good information there. We had some council people in attendance. Thought it went real well. And the mayor joined us. I'm not sure if you wanted to say anything about that or not, Mayor.
Yes, I do. We got a note, and I think I'll read the note, and then it's, "Hi, Chief, thank you and well done to Officer Newsom for putting together an informative program. Also, when Ron Holman asked about handguns in the home, I wanted to cheer when you reminded residents the importance of a safe gun storage in the home, proper training, and talking to your kids about the dangers of guns. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm a volunteer with Moms Demand Action. I appreciate your thoughtful response." That's from Aaron Shank. I think it brings a good thing that maybe we should do some type of, like you did with this, safety, crime prevention, some sort of gun safety in the home or guns in the home or something, because there's more and more of this concealed carry and whatnot. And I think it could, benefit all of us.
Yeah.
So
good idea.
Put up a good thing, and we should do some sort of Zoom or whatnot on that, or in person, whatever, whenever.
I agree.
Great idea.
Especially since gun sales are up 600% this last year. I think anything we can do to advocate safety in the home is is our responsibility as elected officials in our community.
Agreed.
I think it would be
Good
truly,
topic.
it would be truly additive to the training you go through for a concealed carry permit. Really doesn't, it's gun safety, but it really doesn't cover how to handle properly guns in your house and store them properly and that. So I think it would be additive to what the requirements are already.
Absolutely.
I'll have to check with Gene tomorrow. I'm not sure if we have this on our webpage or not. Something tells me that we don't, but I could be wrong on that. And I'll be sure to try to get it on there. But we do provide gun locks. You know, we have several boxes at the station. And, you know, I'll try to see if I can add something in the pink sheet on that as well for, you know, novice. You know, most people have gun safes and whatnot. But, you know, I think the gentleman from last night's meeting, just the way he was, you know, asking questions and talking, kind of led me to believe that he was kind of thinking about it. He wasn't sure. I could tell that maybe he was, you know, maybe a little bit of a beginner. So, you know, hopefully, you know, we'll get one over to him. But we have those readily available to residents who, you know, sort of would like one of those.
And there's a lot of options just besides a gun lock. I mean, there are a lot of safety mechanisms and whatnot. So I think if we did something and could bring that all out, it'd be great.
I agree.
She did a real good, Jessica did a real good job last night with the, and so did John in Columbus.
Yeah, it was very well received, and we, you know, certainly we appreciate the, you know, the support that we had. We had a nice turnout, so went very
Greg,
well.
what is Jessica's email address again to let her know about a video camera?
That would be Jay Newsome, and at gatesmillsvillage.com.
Okay.
And it's also right there on the webpage if, you know,
okay.
You get a return on it. Or I could even have her call you or just send it to you.
No, that's fine. I'll just email it. That's fine.
Anything else, Chief?
No, I think that's it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to Service Department. Dave?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. You should have received a copy of my monthly report. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hey,
yes.
I had one question. I know some of the residents have been concerned with all the debris that's been collected for the storms, the logs, and I know you had some intention of getting that removed. Do you have like a time frame so we can let people know?
Well, yes and no. We did get we went out and got bids from contractors. One refused to bid because it just was too more than he could handle. It turned out Van Kuren gave us a really good price. So we've given him the go ahead. I just got to confirm an actual date. So I can try and follow up and see when that might happen. And I can send you an email to update you with that.
That'd be great.
I have been, as things been progressing, trying to update some of the residents in that area on River Road to kind of keep them apprised that I haven't forgotten, you know, we're working through it. So, but he gave us a really good price on it. So I'll follow up with him on that though.
Appreciate that. I know because people were concerned. So thank you.
Certainly.
Again, Dave, compliments to the service department. I look at my own property now that spring's here and you really have a chance to get out and see how much damage that storm caused last fall. And it's just an indication of how much damage was throughout the village and what a great job you guys did of cleaning it all up throughout the whole winter, spring, early spring. So obviously the debris is the residual of that, but man, what a storm that was.
Yeah, thank you for that, and I will pass that on to the crew because it was definitely a team effort for sure.
Anything else?
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Next is Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. You should have received a copy of the fire department report. There is not so much a typo as just some missing words. In the report for March 24th, Chagrin River Road and Rogers Road, we had a brush fire in the metro parks, and it then goes on to say GMPD on scene report, and they reported it was a very large fire. It is considered suspicious
Oh.
at this time. And the Metro Parks Rangers will continue to look at that. And I know our police department did a lot with patrolling that area just to try and keep an eye on what's going on there. But essentially, we had 3 different fires burning in that field. And eventually 2 of them joined up into one. But when you have 3 different areas that start on fire, that's a bit suspicious, especially with the wind direction. We went on multiple wires down and fires because of the wires down, and a number of fires. 2 of the fires damaged fiber optic cable. They were above ground. I'm just saying, like you said, they're not all underground, and 2 of them actually were damaged because of the wires. They do burn up quite well. So we had that. Assisted Willoughby Hills with a fire in a high-rise apartment building. We had a house fire. This was over on West Hill. It's a very large volume of fire in a 3-car attached garage. The residents are new residents to Gates Mills. Just purchased the house, I think, for $840,000. And the actions of the initial engine crew and 2 engines from Gates Mills saved that house. So it was a tough fire, a large garage, and again, attached with a bedroom right above the fire. So it did extend up and burn through a couple of the floor joists for that bedroom. But the fire didn't actually make it to the bedroom because we laid 900 feet of 5-inch hose down a very long, narrow driveway that only the fire trucks in the village of Gates Mills could have done.
There you go.
That's why we spent extra money to get short wheelbase, short in height fire trucks that carry a lot of hose. So in my opinion, that truck paid for itself almost ×2 already.
Wow.
But it was, also, a testament to the training and to the crews. It was, we called in all the mutual aid that we usually do. So we had multiple departments, a lot of people hiking down that long driveway.
Wow.
Once you lay that 5-inch hose, nothing drives down it after that. And no police cars could get out. So we did trap one of our police cars down there. But it's fine too. No damage to the police car. So it was a large volume of fire, and the guys did an excellent job. The crews did an excellent job with it.
I think it's also a testament to our chief who's established getting the new truck and training in our fire department. So it's great to know.
Absolutely.
Good work.
Thanks.
Yeah, good work.
That concludes the fire department report, unless someone has any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. We'll move on to resolution 2021-11. Chip?
Yes, this is resolution 2021-11 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2022 39,000 GVWR International Truck Chassis HV 507 from Rush Truck Center. And I move to suspend? Is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Second.
Motion by Chip, seconded by Nancy. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
And now, before I move to approve, I assume people realize this, but the resolution 2021-11 and 2021-12 are the 2 major components of a new plow truck. So obviously we'll want to approve both of these resolutions. And so when you're approving this one, you're implicitly, well, then we'll be approving the next one. But this replaces a 2007 Sterling plow truck, so 14 years old, almost 15 years old. And this will bring our plow truck fleet pretty much up to snuff. Dave doesn't feel that over the 5-year period that we are likely to have to replace any other plow trucks. So, but this has been our oldest one and has been on the radar for quite a while. So, and it is also in the budget, and these amounts for the quotes are consistent with what we budgeted. So if there's no questions with that, I make a motion to approve resolution 2021-11.
I'll second.
Motion by Chip, seconded by Sandra. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Fogg,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is resolution 2021-12. Chip?
Yes, this is this resolution 2021-12 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a dump/spreader bed and plow equipment from Judco Truck Equipment, and I move to suspend.
Second.
Motion by Chip, seconded by Nancy. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Fogg,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
And now I move to approve resolution 2021-12.
Second.
Motion by Chip, seconded by Ed Welsh. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Fogg,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, next is resolution 2021-13. Chip?
Yeah, I just actually noticed the document that I was sent is titled Resolution 2020-13. I'm assuming that it's supposed to be 2021.
Yes.
I don't know who, you want to note that, Janet?
Janet should make that correction.
Right.
Well, don't forget, it starts in 2020, the contract.
No.
No,
It's
no,
20, oh,
The
saying
number
21.
of-
You're right.
number
Yeah.
of-
we are in 2021, right?
Yeah.
So- I know.
Correct.
So
It's
this
the
has to be
number of the
resolution.
resolution, not what year it takes place. It's the number of the resolution. But
Right.
Chip, you're right.
So anyways, I'm introducing resolution 2021-13, authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2021. And I believe we need to suspend this, Dave, because we need to get this in shortly.
Yes, it has to be in with no exceptions, no later than April 30th. So the
Right.
sooner we can get it and I can get it signed, I'll get it uploaded to
I'll
the,
second.
Yeah, I move to suspend. Ed seconds.
Yes. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Fogg,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
So just as a education before I move to approve, obviously we do this each year. We're going to submit a bid for 1,700 ton. Again, that's what we did for this last season, 2020-21 season. Where, while we always get a snowfall in late April or early May, this would look like a year that the likelihood is diminishing that could happen. And if we don't, and we don't use any more salt, we will actually end up with about 100 tons above the 1,700 ton, which we will have to pay storage or whatever. But we're going to go for 1,700 ton again. And I just want to make sure everybody knows or has noticed that about 3 years ago, the cost of slag became higher on a per ton than the cost of salt. And so Dave shifted and we increased our purchases of salt and didn't buy any slag. And now all we put on the road is salt. And so you notice in the spring that there's not all those pebbles, slag all over the roads, which is very nice as an individual. I'm sure Larry, as a biker, you appreciate it. And Dave's service team really appreciates it because it requires quite a bit of cleanup. So, our actual tonnage for salt is up a bit compared to if you look back 4 or 5 years, because we're now doing 100% salt and no slag. And that picture pretty much remains the same. Slag is used in asphalt, and that's been a very high demand. And so it's still up there. So we're going to continue putting 100% salt as opposed to salt and slag for the foreseeable future. So anyways, that's just for your own edification. So I now move to approve resolution 2021-13.
I'll second that.
Motion by Chip, seconded by Mary Reynolds. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay. Next is resolution 2021-14. Larry?
Right. This is a resolution that's formalizing our mutual aid with the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District, furnishing police mutual aid services. We have had an understanding with the park system, but they've requested that we have a formalized agreement. So I think we need to suspend this. Greg, do they want this done now, don't they?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
Yes.
so we'll make a motion to suspend resolution number 2021-14, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Board of Park Commissioners of the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District for the furnishing of police mutual aid services.
Second.
Seconded by Ed Welsh. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes?
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 2021-14 as we just presented.
Second.
Seconded by Ed Welsh.
I have a question. Do we understand why they're formalizing this now, or the implications of it?
I can answer that. Sandra, so I would say probably about a year ago, they had a change in leadership there at the Metro Parks PD. They were known as Rangers prior to, you may recall. So now they're considered Metro Parks Police.
Okay.
So there's always been a verbal mutual aid agreement, not only with us, but any neighboring communities that abuts up to the Metro Parks. So it became one of Chief Dolan's goals to get this done. So we had a meeting about it, and it's nothing that we haven't already been doing. We sent it over to Todd for review. He looked at it, he feels very comfortable with it. And so.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So Larry made a motion to approve, seconded by Ed Welsh. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay. Next is a motion to advertise bids for the 2021 road program. Chip?
Yes, so this obviously isn't anything in writing, but I'm presenting a motion so that Dave can go ahead and advertise. Just for, again, your knowledge, the road program, we are planning to address Fox Hill East, and Riverview. We've also gotten approval for the county just to, again, support a range of road programs where they fund approximately 50% of the expenditure, basically cover the material. And depending on how the quotes come in, we will then see if there's any room to do anything further. But it will be a pretty extensive program that we're planning when we go out for bid. So with that, I move to permit advertising for the bids for the 2021 road program.
Second.
Seconded by Sandra.
Yes.
Okay. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Next
so
is,
everybody knows, we'll plan to have bids back for award at the June meeting, just so you know.
Okay.
Now that we've got authorization, we'll get everything ready. We'll go out to bid in May, and then we'll have everything back in advance of the June meeting.
okay. Next is business from the audience. Tom, do we have any questions or comments?
No, we had 9 people watching and we have no questions or comments.
Okay.
Well, then I would make a motion to adjourn unless the mayor has something else she wants to share with us.
The only thing I would like to add to that is it'd be nice if in May we could maybe have the meeting in person and use our new equipment at the community house, but we'll send something out closer to the time, but that's the plan at the moment.
Has the state authorized us to meet with more than 10 people?
Well,
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Yeah, there's now an exception for government meetings.
And I assume everyone is vaccinated.
well, that's what we're assuming. I wasn't going to bring that part in, but I would like to still Zoom it to the residents.
Good. Good.
Todd's shaking his head, yes. So we'd be able to use our new equipment to do that. So I
hey,
kind of like to plan on that. So just put that in your
Todd,
mind.
this is strictly a curiosity question, not,
Yeah.
this is a curiosity question, but if the meeting is being Zoomed and a council person, but the council is going to meet in person, but a council person cannot meet in person, will they be permitted to Zoom? Because of course, in the past, before COVID, you had to be there in person to be able to vote.
It's my understanding that's still in effect, so that people can participate by Zoom or in
Wow.
person.
Wow.
Members.
Thank you,
And
Chip.
I'm hoping that we'll all be there.
Well, thank you, but thanks, Chip, for asking the question, Chip, because I know that I will not be there. So I'd love to be able to participate from afar. So.
I was thinking of you, Mary, when I asked that question, so.
Well, you know that I've got tickets for that PGA Championship, and that's going to be awful hard to tear me away from that. So.
Yeah, right.
It's being played right here, at Kiowa. So it's pretty exciting.
So let me ask one more question about that. Does that mean members will always be able to Zoom in when they're away on vacation if they want to try to participate?
No, I think it's time limited. I will get that information to you.
Oh, okay, that's helpful.
I think as long as the state of emergency is in place, that's okay. It has not been lifted entirely.
It's really nice when you're working. I can still get in the meetings and stuff.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Yeah, that's good.
You have a
Go
motion.
ahead.
I'll second the motion. I think Mary. Did you
Thank
make
you,
that?
Larry. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
Thank
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.